If you're curious about moving to Las Vegas, but you're not sure if it's the right place for you, then this is the video for you. I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know, the good and the bad, from my first-hand experience of living in Las Vegas for the past decade. And who knows, maybe Las Vegas is the place for you. And if it is, give me a call and I would be happy to help you find your dream home. Let's jump right into the video. The first pro of living in Las Vegas is the cost of living. I spent the majority of my life living on the West Coast, spending time in states including Oregon and California. So Las Vegas is a welcome change when it comes to the cost of living. Since so many people move to Vegas from California, it's a really great state for me to do some comparisons with. Las Vegas has the cost of living that's only 1% higher than the national average. And when you contrast that with LA, it is 51% higher than the national average. So let's talk about the national averages and see how Las Vegas compares to them. Las Vegas has housing expenses 10% higher, utility prices 2% higher, and transportation expenses 13% higher. And these numbers are not that bad when you consider the numbers in LA. Housing expenses are 140% higher there. Utility prices are 11% higher, and transportation expenses are 28% higher. Sticking with the comparison, the healthcare costs in Las Vegas are 7% lower than the national average, while Los Angeles has healthcare costs that are 12% higher than the national average. And don't even get me started on the price of a home. The median sales price for a single family home here in Las Vegas is about $440,000. And when you compare that to Los Angeles, the median price for a single family home in LA is $1.2 million. Can you even believe that? Let's hop back and forth between the pros and cons. So I'm gonna jump into some cons next. The first con that I wanna talk about is the Las Vegas summer heat. Now, I know this might be controversial because it's also one of the pros of living in Las Vegas. But when it comes time to taking out your dog for a walk or running errands during 110, 115 degree heat, you're definitely not gonna be very happy about that. On average, we have over 70 days a year where the temperature reaches over 100 degrees. That's nearly 3 months out of the year where we're just baking out here. And because of that, people just simply don't like going outside during those times of the year, especially during the day. And this is actually reflected by the casino gaming numbers. The gaming numbers actually go down by 2% during that time of year, with some off-strip casinos even experiencing up to a 10% drop in its revenue. And we're not just complaining about a little heat here and there. It's actually really dangerous. The statistics say that about 250 people in the last 2 years have died in Clark County related to the excessive heat. And because Vegas is growing in population, it's actually getting hotter and hotter every year. It's been recorded that an average of 6-degree increase in urban temperature since 1970. Last summer, I remember looking at the thermometer and it said 118. Now, I have a dog and I'm a proud dog mama, so I have to really watch out for him and how hot he gets when he touches the ground. And if you fall down on the ground and scrape yourself on the scorching ground, you can actually burn yourself. Because of the heat, the cost of cooling your home here in Las Vegas, especially during the months of June, July, and August, is extremely high, and it keeps going up by about 20% year over year given the rising temperatures. The heat is also insanely hard on vehicles. Batteries overheat, the seats are burning your skin when you get inside. You absolutely have to have your windows tinted. And if it rains even a tiny bit in the summer, people start getting into car accidents because all of the oil on the ground starts to rise up and the roads become very, very slippery. Now, as I mentioned a little bit earlier at the start of this con, the weather here in Las Vegas, I would say, is also a pro. For anyone who has lived in the Midwest, in the North, in the Northeast, now you know that the weather there is pretty brutal, especially in the winter. Here in Las Vegas, you definitely do not have to deal with that almost ever. I think I've seen it snow in Las Vegas maybe once, maybe twice, and it usually happens closer to the mountains where the elevation is slightly higher than the Strip. The weather rarely gets below freezing, and on an average day in January, it's 55 degrees and sunny. There's a solid 6 months out of the year where the weather is absolutely perfect. Starting in March and heading into the summer months, and then after the summer, September, October, November. It is nearly perfect here. For those of you who experience seasonal depression, you definitely don't have to worry about here in Vegas because it is sunny almost every day here. Can you believe it? Now, I know I've talked a lot about the heat, but the one thing that's very different about this type of heat here in the desert is there is no humidity here. So if you can avoid being in the direct sun, it almost always feels pretty perfect, and the heat doesn't really feel as hot as the thermometer says that it is. So 100 degrees actually doesn't really feel all that bad if you're in the shade. And because of this 6+ months of perfect weather, Vegas has so many great activities that you can do during those months, including hiking, running outside, tons of restaurants with outdoor seating, outdoor concerts, and so much more. So while we're on the topic of the beautiful weather here and the lack of rain, this leads me to my next con. We have a water shortage. Lake Mead is one of Las Vegas's main attractions with jet skiing, boating, people walking and hiking around the lake. What's been happening is its shoreline keeps consistently shrinking. I mean, every other week, it feels like they're finding a new dead body that's caused by the receding shoreline. The government is stepping in, and they are trying to do some things to help prevent further decrease in our water supply. They're passing rules that include getting rid of real grass in all of Las Vegas neighborhoods to conserve water. Regulations about pool sizes are also passing just to conserve water there as well. But it's definitely a hot topic, and it continues to be an unknown for the future of Vegas. Okay, that was a little depressing, I will admit. So let's just jump back into some more pros about Las Vegas. This is probably my favorite pro about Vegas, and it's the entertainment options here. I have been known to put my dancing shoes on from time to time and go out to the clubs. I mean, I've been to clubs all over the world, in Miami, Ibiza, and Vegas is just a whole beast of its own. You could see some of the best DJs here in Vegas almost every night of the week. Cascade, Tiesto, Zed, John Summit, Calvin Harris, who is back, so many more DJs. In addition to the best clubs, there are also day clubs, which are just as fun, if not more. And we also have a ton of festivals that come to Vegas, everything from EDC to Life is Beautiful, and one of Vegas's newest festivals called Lovers and Friends. I'm actually going this year because my boy Usher is performing, and the Backstreet Boys. I mean, come on, how could I miss that? Now, if partying is not your thing and you like the finer things in life, like dining and shows and other classy things, there are plenty of options for you here as well. We have Cirque du Soleil here, which is world renowned. We have legendary artists taking stage here in Vegas, like Adele, Celine Dion, Katy Perry. You can also catch shows like Michael Jackson 1 and MJ Live for some throwback. And in addition to all of the entertainment, you gotta eat, right? Here in Vegas, you can dine at some of the world's finest restaurants that are led by legendary chefs like Gordon Ramsay, who I will say I've bumped into a time or two out and about here in Vegas, and he is a nice guy. Bobby Flay, Guy Fieri, Julian Serrano, Nobu, Jose Andres. In addition to restaurants that are led by famous chefs, there are also so many other restaurants that are just 5-star incredible. Some of my favorite restaurants here in Vegas are Casa Playa, which is a Mexican restaurant that's fairly new, that is at the Encore. Javier's, which is at Aria. Fuhu, which is inside Resorts World. One of my absolute favorite restaurants is Crossroads inside the Resorts World. It's Italian vegan and absolutely to die for. And I don't know if you guys have seen photos of the Sphere yet. I assume that you have, but it is absolutely insane. And some may even consider it one of the 7 wonders of the world. And if you're into sports, Las Vegas is quickly becoming a big sports town. Everything from NHL hockey to NFL football, having the Super Bowl here just a couple of days ago, to a baseball team coming and the stadium actually coming onto the Strip, which is insane to imagine. And while it has been pretty controversial with the locals here in Las Vegas, we also had F1 here in 2023, and I will tell you, it was quite the spectacle. I mean, how cool is it that cars just raced on Las Vegas Boulevard legally? Okay, so we covered some more pros, so let's hop over to our next con, the homeless epidemic. Ever since the pandemic, it feels like the homeless population here in Vegas has exploded. I looked up some numbers, and the statistics say that the homeless population has risen by 14% since 2022. It's very noticeable in some parts of town, especially on the outskirts of downtown Las Vegas. And when you compare the homeless population of Vegas to other parts of the country, we actually ranked 28th on the list. And unfortunately, with the rise in the homeless population, also comes crime. And tied to the homelessness and the crime, there's also a big drug problem. And that causes a lot of areas around the city to be pretty dangerous and causes safety issues for people that are passing through those areas. Crazy about the homeless population in Las Vegas is a lot of them are living in tunnels underneath the city, which provides them with shelter when it's really hot, especially in the summer, but it's really dangerous when it rains. It could cause flooding, and all of this happens very quickly. I'm actually going to cover some of the more dangerous areas and neighborhoods around the city of Las Vegas in another video. So we'll continue on with our list of pros and cons, and we'll switch over to the pros again. The next pro on the list is the Las Vegas airport. Now, this might seem a little bit confusing, but if you are someone who travels a lot for work or works remotely and just enjoys traveling in general, the proximity of the Las Vegas airport to the majority of the Las Vegas Valley is super close. You're almost always 15 minutes away from anywhere in the city to the airport. Also, Vegas has direct flights to almost every major city around the US, as well as regional airports and international, and the prices of tickets are typically on the lower side compared to flights from other cities. And they're constantly adding new routes and new airlines to the Vegas airport. Currently, Las Vegas has direct flights to 170 destinations across 11 countries. Also, another pro about the Las Vegas airport, people having the ability to visit from anywhere in the country, is you get to have a lot of visitors. A lot of people want to come to Vegas in general, and oftentimes it's very easy for them to get here, pretty inexpensive, and there's just so much to do. So I get to see a lot of my friends pretty regularly. I mean, when I lived back in Oregon and it was cold and rainy a lot, it was quite difficult to convince people to come out to Portland and see me. But Las Vegas seems to be a very, very popular destination for so many of my friends and in general for so many people. So I definitely love that part about Vegas. To give you a quick example, I've had multiple people asking if they could stay with me in my apartment or even sleep on the floor for the Super Bowl weekend, because everyone who I knew was trying to come to Vegas. Which brings me to my last point. While people love to come to Vegas all day, they usually don't really stick around for too long. Vegas definitely tends to be a very transient city. Only 24% of people living in Las Vegas were actually born in Nevada. And of those people living here, 43% of residents actually expressed the desire to leave the state, with 20% actually indicating that they were planning on leaving within the next year. Being a huge people person, that is a pretty difficult thing for me personally, because I love to nurture friendships and relationships, and because people tend to come and go it makes it pretty difficult to build true community here in Las Vegas. With the service industry being really big in Las Vegas, people usually tend to get burned out after a couple of years and they're ready to move on to the next place. While Vegas is definitely a transient city, I'm starting to see that things are starting to change a little bit. With the addition of a new NHL team, a new NFL team, I'm definitely seeing that Las Vegas as a city is becoming more and more community oriented. And with all of the people fleeing California, Vegas has definitely been at the top of places where people are coming to build a new life, build a new home, and find a new community. I know that this has been a video that has had some cons, but I will say overall, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. And Las Vegas in general is a really, really great place to live. I personally really love it here. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. And if you're considering moving to Las Vegas or want to know more about the city, I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have and just chat with you about what life is like here in Las Vegas. I'm going to put my contact information in the description below. So feel free to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a DM, an email. I'm available across all of the communication channels. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video.